Hello my friends and welcome back. It's Monday, the beginning of the week, so happy Monday to you. We're gonna survive this week, but you know what didn't survive this week already actually, because it happened today? Well, 2 Russian oil tankers on the Kerch strait. Russian oil tanker Volgoneft 212 is in distress near the Kerch strait, Russian media reports. The ship is carrying 4,000 tons of mazout, a low-grade fuel oil. 13 crew members are also reportedly on board. The tanker was allegedly broken in half by waves and is sinking rapidly. This is the second Volgoneft ship to be wrecked by waves in a recent memory. This is allegedly due to poor workmanship when the ship was upgraded. A rescue operation is ongoing. If the tanker's contents spill into the sea, it could spell ecological disaster. Now, this was not the only one. You can see in the video, it's not the greatest quality, but you can see there is actually 2 tankers that broke in half and sunk. Yes, they both did sink, filled with oil. So it's not if the oil leaks into the Kerch Strait, but when, because it will. 2 Russian tankers, Volgoneft 212 and Volgoneft 239, sink in the Kerch Strait. And we have a better quality video seeing the sinking of one of these Volgoneft transporters, oil transporters, and it's going under. It's the last moments of Titanic. Rose and Jack are right now holding on to dear life from this metal bar, and they're gonna release themselves. And unfortunately, Jack doesn't have room on the door that is floating. I mean, there was obviously enough room, but Rose didn't let him on. These 2 tankers are done. They're sleeping with the fishes, as you would say. Here we can see exactly when it happened. Where it happened. Also, we can see the temperature of the weather. It's about 7 to 10 degrees Celsius, meaning the water is extremely cold for a human body. If you fall into that water, you have below an hour. I mean, you go in and out as a winter swimmer, it's okay for a few minutes, but if you gotta be in the water for 30 minutes, you're gonna be dead. Also, I read all of the comments in X, and many of the people who commented were former shipmen, former crewmen of similar ships. They said that these 3.5 meter waves that were present at the time of the sinking of these tankers, they wouldn't have been enough to cut these tankers in half. Even 10-meter waves wouldn't have done it. So this has to be something else than the waves, the reason behind the sinking. Maybe sabotage, maybe the fact that they are very old, because Russia is reliant on its shadow fleet of old uninsured ships to carry its oil. My friends, one of Russia's most efficient weapons is export of fear and also disinformation. This is why I have partnered with Ground News, because they, much like me, are fighting on the front line of the information war. You can check them out by using my link in the description below at ground.news/Artur for 50% off the Vantage plan. Ground News is a world's top news comparison site. This is their homepage, and I have chosen to click on For You, which is, for me, personalized news, Ukraine and Ukraine war, my topics. And I have chosen this specific news to illustrate their fantastic tools. Tucker Carlson announces interview with Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov. We can see on the top right corner that total news sources is 43, so it is a very well covered news. And bias distribution is also illustrated as 65% leaning right. If we look at a factuality, then it's 48% high factuality, which is barely on the margin for me. Anything below 50% high factuality, I would take it with a grain of salt. If you want, you can keep your eye on the ownership tabs. Why is it important? Because owners always have agendas for their news agencies. Also here you can see all of the different wordings of the titles of different news sites publishing on this topic. The title already and the words chosen tell you quite a lot about the agenda behind it. You can see the wording that each news house used to cover this topic. For example, National Post, immediately you get this green sign individual, Leon Cooperman. Or if you go down to Bloomberg, individual, Michael Bloomberg. Each individual has their own agenda, each wording sends a different message. Here, Ground News lays it all right in front of you for you to check. Scroll between different headlines to cover the same topic to choose which one is most neutral. On the warfare against Russian disinformation, Ground News is a fantastic tool to have. And if you really want to know what you don't know, you can click on the blind spot. It shows you the areas of a certain topic that most news sites don't publish. Check them out using my link in the description below at ground.news/Artur to get 50% off the Vantage plan. Thank you, Ground News, for sponsoring today's video. My friends, do you remember before Ukraine took a big portion, 1,000 square kilometers of Russia's Kursk Oblast, a few days before we started seeing these new tactical symbols, where right now we also see this is a square. I mean, obviously you can see it for yourself. Getty Images, what the hell? Well, square is a new tactical sign appearing on Ukrainian equipment. We don't know what it is. I mean, at the time of making this video, at least we don't. You might already know, but we saw similar things before the Kursk invasion, so big things might start to happen. People are speculating it's Bryansk or Belgorod. Somebody says it's a gamer control button. I hear Belgorod. Well, time will tell. My friends, we have first confirmations and videos, drone footages, and even the aftermath of the first battle where North Korean troops were used en masse. There are reports that even over 500 of them were used in one battle alone. I'm not sure I can show you the videos. I'll try to if YouTube allows me to, but let's go over this battle. First of all, where did they attack? Of course, in Kursk. What you see on the screen is the entire area that Ukraine right now controls in the Russian Kursk Oblasts. It's about 500-600 square kilometers right now, and Putin has ordered, the Tsar has ordered to take this area back from the Ukrainians by December 20th. So Russians have 4 days. Of course, they will use North Koreans. The red arrows is where they are pushing the heaviest. Perhaps North Koreans were also used in these offensive axes. Alright, my friends, let's watch this. This is a Ukrainian recon drone, and supposedly these are the North Korean troops simply advancing without any kind of armor protection over the field. They are very slowly running or walking very fast, and they are walking in a one great line. There's another line behind it. And you can see some troops already walking back. Later we go into reports why walking back. Well, they're wounded. Wounded are limping back. But this is active battle, because soon we can see a Ukrainian artillery shell hit very close. Boom, here. It missed like 50 meters perhaps. I'm not sure it wounded anybody of them, but this is a full flesh meat attack to the Ukrainian positions. The Ukrainians do report that there are massive casualties among North Korean troops. Well, let's not take only a word for it. Let's look at what these massive casualties mean. This is only one drone footage. I'm pretty sure I cannot show it to you. Well, the link is in the description below. You can go and check it out yourself. But I'm describing what I see. Exactly 22 soldiers lined one by one in a great row. They're all unalived, knocked out cold, sleeping with the fishes. Well, supposedly these are the North Koreans who did not come back from the battle, and somebody lined them up. Supposedly other North Koreans did it. Yeah, we can see it in our eyes. This is only 22. This is only one clip, one location. There's supposedly many of these body piles there. Now let's see Ukrainian soldiers or military bloggers' first-hand reports about this attack. Commentary by Andriy Kovalenko, head of the Ukrainian Center of Countering Disinformation, regarding the presence of North Korean goblins in the Kursk region. He says that the goblins are being dressed in orcish uniforms and sent in mass assaults, relying on the sheer number of available infantry. He says, yes, that North Korean, up to 500 actually, this is only reports, we don't know the exact numbers and we don't know the exact wounded or unalived North Koreans, but there are many different sources reporting this one battle happening. And they actually took one village from the Ukrainians, but there were massive losses. Now let's look at another guy's report, Ukrainian soldiers' report about North Korean assaults. Ukrainian serviceman comments about the North Korean attacks on the Kursk front. I quote, "From what I saw yesterday, it seemed to me that Koreans were not providing first aid to their wounded. I saw a scene. An FPV flew into a group of 3 Koreans. 2 fell and did not get up, but showed signs of life. The third looked at them, stood, waited for the others to come up, and went with them further across the field. At the same time, individual Koreans were gathering their own in the field and dragging them onto stretchers along the ground, back along the same route they came from. I saw one crowd of those still alive walking parallel to the stream of those who were dragging their bodies. A kind of conveyor belt of death. One line was going, the other line was coming back. You can actually see it happening in this video also. Check it out. This line is going. There's another line going behind it further away. Boom, we see it right here. It's like 300 meters away. And we see these single stragglers, 1, 2, coming back closest to the drone, recon drone. They come back, they're probably wounded. So it is fully conveyor belt of death. By the way, one of the biggest issues with the Russian army, with North Korean troops, is the language barrier. Because it's not the issue that they're not trained or motivated, because they are. All they do in North Korea is train meat assault attacks. They are trained, they are motivated, but they cannot distinguish Russians from Ukrainians or Russians from Chechens because they are from Korea. I'm not being racist here when I say that it is difficult if you're not used to Western faces or Russian faces. I mean, for me, it's difficult to distinguish perhaps Asian faces from each other sometimes. It's just cultural differences. It gets time to get used to it. So they are having big issues distinguishing Ukrainian, Russian, and Chechens. And the language is also distinguishing between them. So, for them, they don't know which one is enemy and which one is Russian for them. So, what happened because of this nervousness and because of this paranoia? In other news, nervous and trigger-happy North Korean soldiers opened fire on a vehicle convoy of Akhmat special forces, Kadyrovites, unaliving 8 of them. 8 of them pushing up daisies because North Koreans have a massive language and cultural barrier. This is what happens. Now, I would tell a difference. I'm from Estonia, but I can tell a difference between a Chechen language, a Chechen accent in Russian language, a Ukrainian language, and Russian language. And even Chechens look a little bit different than Russians. Mostly they have big beards and they have this thing, they do. Russians don't speak like that. You can tell a difference, but North Koreans, for them, it's all the same. I just want to show you very quickly a war map so we know where the main offensive axis is going on for the Russians. 2 places, Pokrovsk and Kursk. Putin has ordered Kursk to be taken back by 20th of December, so that's in 4 days, and we can see, they're not doing that well. They're using up massive amounts of infantry. Time will tell, they have 4 days. Now let's go to Pokrovsk also, you know where it is. It's here, this settlement. Now this is a logistical center for the Ukrainian armed forces. Russians of course want to take it because then it turns into their logistical center. It's a very important city. It's also a pretty big city for the frontal area. And Russians have advanced here the fastest. By the way, where Ukrainians were surrounded was this area right here, south of Pokrovsk. I don't know if they got out or not. I don't have that information, but according to the latest reports, up to 100 Ukrainian troops were surrounded in this pocket right here. Let's see now a Russian soldier's report or thoughts from Russian Telegram channel. What do they think about the orders to take it all back by December 20th? Look, Ukraine sent 2 brigades there. We're talking about Pokrovsk because there are reports, yes, that Ukraine has sent 2 new brigades into the area to reinforce Pokrovsk. And is now bringing a 3rd. But Pokrovsk will be taken. I don't need anything here. Don't tell me from the guys. I know it will be taken by the 20th. I know it will be taken by the 20th, January 20th. So they have 1 month and 4 days. our Kursk task is to push them out by January 20th. With the North Korean brothers, yes, and the negotiations will begin. So Russian troops are also anticipating negotiations. Everybody is. And now reports coming from Ukrainian side. Pokrovsk, further Ukrainian reserves were transferred to this sector of the front and used in a powerful counterattack that moved from Pichane towards Shevchenko. Russian troops were forced to flee, and armed forces of Ukraine entered Shevchenko this morning and are still holding. Well, yes, Ukrainians want to push the Russian salient back from Pokrovsk because it is a massively important logistical center for them, and they're deploying troops there. I'll read you a very short report again about the style of the Russian attacks because nothing has changed, but it has intensified, anticipating January 20th, the change of the United States president and Putin's orders. Reports are coming in of Russian forces conducting meat grinder assaults in columns, with no armored transport support near the village of Kovalenko on the Kursk bridgehead. Despite heavy losses, they continue to advance, desperate trying to carry out Putin's orders. And by the way, one village was again taken back from the Ukrainians yesterday. So very slowly they are advancing, I cannot deny that. They are trading their men for the ground. And Ukrainians, on the other hand, are crowned for lost Russian men. In this video, my friends, I want to demonstrate to you you have seen Russians use motorcycles and they use scooters on mass assaults. Right now it's Rasputitsa. It's very difficult to use scooters, but you can still use motorcycles. But not everybody knows how to drive a motorcycle. So they are learning on the front as they go. A few days before the meat assault begins, they gotta learn how to drive. You don't really need to know how to do all the minor things. All you gotta do is know how to get moving, because then you can just full throttle and go as fast as far as possible. These two guys already managed it. Great for them. There's another dude who really, boom, straight into the wall. I guess this Ivan has to do a little bit more training. My friends, a big hit happened on a Russian logistical railway. This is railway between Melitopol and Donetsk. It connects to Mariupol also. And further zoomed out, it comes over the Kerch bridge, Kerch strait. And this rail, it was a fuel train, was attacked when the blue marker is up north from Berdyansk. And this is the third attack on this railway in 2024. I'll read you the report. We have some footage also about it. Supposedly Switchblade 600, an American kamikaze drone, and HIMARS was used. Supposedly. Nothing confirmed about it. You can tell from the video which it was, I guess. In 2024, Ukraine conducted a total of 3 attacks on the rail line from Melitopol to Volnovakha. This is the third attack. The first time happened on April 27th. The second time happened on August 7th, and here is a beautiful video of a Ukrainian kamikaze drone hitting the train, actually. Nice video, I remember covering it. And the third time is this one, right here. Depending on the size of the tanks, that is somewhere between 240,000 to 1.2 million gallons of fuel. This rail line, as I've highlighted many times previously, runs the entire length of the Russian rear and supplies the entire southern front, picking up the role from Kerch Bridge in terms of importance to the Russian logistics that Ukraine has decided to virtually ignore for nearly 3 years. It is strange, yeah, because we got reports of Russians building out this rail line for a long time, and I did not see many attacks from the Ukrainian side. There were some, but I would have wished to see more. Well, this is the third one this year. This was an amazing strike at the Russian logistics on the near rear, and Ukraine needs to conduct more such strikes to make sure this rail line is untenable and force Russia to spend the time, fuel and resources taking a several 100-mile detour, divert and go back across Kerch Bridge. The detour we're talking about is across the Azov Sea back to the Kerch Bridge and coming from another side, land side of Russia. Let's look at the footage. Now the footage is right here. We cannot tell by the footage what exactly was used. Let's see. This is the train, actually. This is the fuel train. Regular fuel tanks. You've seen it in any kind of city, I guess. Give me a moment. Boom, it's burning right here. Reports are, only rumors, we kind of confirmed that switchblade 600 was used to take out the first cart. Switchblade was used to immobilize the train, then HIMARS was used to take out the first and last cart, so the middle fuel tanks couldn't be moved, and then one by one they were burned or destroyed. Again, all of this is not confirmed, but we have footage of this train being attacked, so that is confirmed. Here is how they actually, why the train stopped at first place, allowing the Switchblade 600 to strike it, is because it was an SBU sabotage mission. Here you can see explosives and a remote control. Here you can see them putting the explosives on the rail. It's quite a small of explosive, but it's enough to take out this area here, very small area, one rail. It's going to derail the train if it hits it. And here is the hue from far away from the burning. So they blew up the railway lines, the train stopped, then they hit the train with the switchblade, then they hit the train with the HIMARS. Supposedly this is how it happened. I remember in Friday's video I reported of the Ukrainian drones flying into Grozny, Chechen capital. Well, my friends, I am honored to show this to you again, because this is not the Friday's attack, but this happened again today early morning. And look at this looks like a civilian small plane, but it actually is. Ukraine has been converting these and building them and converting these into heavy-time drones. The remote control, they fly really far, and it connects to OMON building, which is the Akhmat Special Forces, Kadyrovites. They should be under Rosgvardia. Boom! It goes up in flames. This is the barracks of the OMON Special Forces. It's like the third attack in a month for Chechen capital Grozny. And here we can see it really close. Look at this plane. This is a plane, a small plane. The Ukraine is building these planes, and they're just making them remote controlled and filling them up with explosives. It's a massively simple drone that goes kaboom, bada beam. Kadyrov is mad. My friends, on December 14th, today is 16th, December 14th, drones hit the Oryol fuel depot in Russia. So that was 2 days ago. And today it's still burning full time. There are the massive clouds of here you can see the oil spilling out actually and burning. It looks really cool. But it's still burning 2.5 days later. So usually with the oil depots that are hit, Russia is really not able to put them out, because even in the West it's hard to put out oil fires. You can't do it, you need a chemical solution and foam. But in Russia, firefighters even have been sent to the front, and with water you don't extinguish this. So what they usually do is just wait for it to burn out, and this one is still burning 2 days later. Let's take a very short look into Russian economy. I'm not going to spend much time here in this video, but the workers at Russia's largest state construction site, the M12 highway, have stopped being paid. Delays began in the summer and payments have stopped completely since September. So now it's like 4th month already these guys are not being paid. It's one of the largest state construction works in the entire country, and they're not paying the guys. Of the 1,000 employees, 600 have already quit, and the rest cannot go home. Why? Because usually these workers are immigrant workers. The State Labor Inspectorate and the Investigative Committee have launched an investigation, but Avtodor says the money has not reached the contractors. It's only a symptom of a failing economy. It only illustrates how the state is doing. If the state is good with the money, they are paying. This is the biggest and one of the most important infrastructure projects right now in Russia. And they are failing to pay the guys. Now, very shortly, I just saw a beautiful graph. I think it's important for you to see it. You can check it on the graph, but I'll read it to you very quickly. 1993, a dollar was 0.9 rubles. 2000, a dollar was 28 rubles. 2024, a dollar was or is 100 plus rubles. So it's been pretty bad. And you can actually see on this graph, the ruble course to dollar represents almost precisely Russian foreign aggression. Let's see. 2008, Georgia was attacked. Boom, ruble devaluated. 2014, Crimea was annexed. Boom, ruble lost like 40% of its value. 2022, Ukraine was attacked. Boom, ruble spiked. It went back down, but now it's spiking again. So, yeah. Now, my friends, this completes Russo-Ukrainian war in Russia and Ukraine, but this very war continues in Syria, and I'll tell you the most important news from Syria now. Israel has finally done what everybody waited and anticipated Israel to do. And actually, this is striking a Russian Tartus military port. And an earthquake, an actual earthquake of magnitude 3 was recorded near Syrian military bases attacked by Israel. Such an effect could have come from the detonation of arsenal of 107th Coastal Defense Brigade, which previously belonged to the Syrian army. Russian Bastion and Yukon anti-ship missiles could explode there. So it was the ammunition depot of Tartus military port, which has been abandoned by the Russians. And look at this mushroom cloud. My God, it's a beautiful sight for a Monday. It made my week already. Russian ammunition exploding so big it makes damn earthquake is what I want to see every Monday. Oh, another one going. Damn, that's a double tap. And there's photos, of course, about it also, and they are very post-apocalyptic. They look really nice. Yeah, beautiful sight. Now, next news is United States military in Syria, and I'm really glad to report it. In this clip, you can see US military moving into the abandoned Russian bases of Sarin and Ain Issa on the north of the country. Yes, here is a beautiful map, of course. Sarin here, Ain Issa here. And United States military is right now deployed physically, boots on the ground, in these former Russian/Assad bases. Glad to see it. That's not the only one. There is one more base they moved into, or this is a city actually. United States soldiers arrive in Kobani in northern Syria to take possession of the military bases abandoned by the Russian army a few days ago. But this is a city of Kobani, a town of Kobani, mostly habited by Kurdish people. And here's a picture already with a United States troop in it. And there's US flag already raised. There's plenty of footages of US Humvees driving in. It's a nice sight to see. I mean, Syria and Russian troops and Assad's troops, they left the power vacuum. And US is moving in to fill it. So people say, oh, US is a falling empire. Dollar is falling. The US military might is not projected anymore. Well, who is moving into the bases when Russia left? The US. And Turkey and Israel, of course. But the US. Talking about Turkey and Israel, by the way, very nice segue, but Turkey and Israel are positioning themselves to replace Russia and Iran. Turkey aims to become the primary supplier of gas and oil to the EU via Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary and Austria. We can see it right here. This is gas and oil pipeline, one of those. I'm sorry, I might mess it up. It's oil or gas pipeline. You can correct me which one it is. Going through Turkey, Azerbaijan and Georgia, of course, and this pipeline can be controlled by Russia via Georgia, unfortunately. And it is going through Turkey, Bulgaria, and to the EU. So, if the power lines in the Middle East are right now changing, Israel, Turkey, and the United States are filling up the gaps left by Russia and Iran very quickly. Now, an interesting piece of news. I mean, it's connected to Russia, so I'll report it. Joni Depp has a young Russian girlfriend. Her name is, where do I find the name? Yulia Vlasova, 28-year-old Russian girlfriend. Joni Depp gave her $500,000, $500,000, to open a business in Moscow. I think it was a jewelry store. Yes, a jewelry store. So I don't know what to make of this. I used to be a huge Joni Depp fan, but this doesn't fly in my eyes. Now, my friends, an interesting analysis, and it touches upon Ukraine's mineral riches. And it's very hard to describe how damn massive and vast are mineral deposits in Ukraine's land underground. We're talking about rare earth minerals. President Zelensky has postponed signing the deal with the United States on cooperation in the extraction and processing of minerals until Trump's inauguration. Kyiv is focused on deposits of 20 key minerals, including lithium, the value of whose reserves is estimated at $11.5 trillion, which may interest Trump's business allies such as Elon Musk. Senator Lindsey Graham said that Trump's plan to conclude a deal to return US money and increase his profits from minerals, calling it also beneficial for Ukraine. So the underlying context here is that underground Ukraine, there is massive amounts, Europe's biggest amounts of rare earth minerals, extremely necessary for EU production and American production of any kind of modern tech. Natural gas, I mean, only Norway has bigger amounts of natural gas than Ukraine in the EU area. So Ukraine, if there is peace in Ukraine and stability, this can be, the infrastructure can be built out and there can be extractions of minerals and natural gas to be exported to the EU and to the US. EU is not energy sufficient and EU is not these mineral, how do I call it, rare earth minerals, most are imported to the EU. From China and Russia and other countries that are perhaps not friendly. So Ukraine could be the answer to that. And they can pay back any kind of debt they have to the EU and Russia, because there have been a lot of loans, with these minerals. It's a win for Ukraine right now, and it's a massive win to the EU and US in the future and their production, because they need gas and they need these rare earth minerals, because lithium, for example, like 75% of an entire lithium production in the world right now is controlled by China. Not physically in China, but for example on the African continent, controlled by China. And it's a massive component in United States production and export and profits. So they need secure lithium deposits, a massive amount of it which is in Ukraine. So I see a potential, I see possibilities for EU, Ukraine and United States, and I hope people are smart enough to realize this and make it work. Now, my friends, I want to thank 5 Buy Me a Coffee members. Buy Me a Coffee monthly members are the reason I can do what I do so consistently. They are the foundation of this channel, and they truly have changed my life, and they mean a lot to me. So I'm going to thank them in the weirdest way possible by butchering their names with my Estonian pronunciation. Let's go. Huski 1984, David Kantara, Ashol 187, Todd Berkan, Jeff Pateman, and all of you who are active members, monthly members of Buy Me a Coffee, you will get a Rehi patch. All you gotta do is become a monthly member, links in the description below, and write to me and Buy Me a Coffee, and I'll send out one of these bad boys to you. Until my next video, my friends, which will be on Wednesday, so be sure to be back. Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye.